Bushwhacks were some of the worst days I've ever had in the mountains, or life, really.
Whereas Panther Mountain is totally opposite. It's a mountain on top of a crater.
I think the weather challenges on this incident were particularly difficult.
It was really the development of New York State. Catskills were responsible.
Now you're listening to Inside the Line, the Catskill Mountains podcast.
All right, so welcome to episode 188 of Inside the Line, the Catskill Mountains podcast. Tonight, we have Ranger Jeffery here tonight. Tonight, actually recording at 2 or 3 o'clock, so we're a little in the day. So this afternoon, we have Ranger Jeffery. He's going to chat about us becoming a ranger. You know, he's recently become a ranger, the process, stuff like that, you know, civil service tests, everything and anything ranger, becoming a ranger-ish. So welcome to the show, Nate, Jeffery, Ranger.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you here. So how's everything been? How's busy?
Pretty busy. So summer obviously was super busy, and now we're hitting fall, so I feel like it's always busy. It's just a different kind of busy. You know, we transitioned from a lot of the rescues and whatnot to fire, and I think that's where we're kind of going right now.
Yeah. Well, that's a good, once again, there he goes. Put a topic on there. So I've recently heard about the lanternflies approaching down in the Hudson Valley area, stuff like that. I'm seeing a lot of pictures, a lot of videos of the lanternflies. And if everybody doesn't know what the lanternflies are, they're an invasive species. They feed on certain trees, and then they kill those trees. I haven't specifically gone into detail about what they do, but they are feeding on trees, and they're invasive, and they're starting to move up here into the Hudson Valley. I haven't heard about them in the Catskills yet, but I'm guessing I'm going to hear it now. Ranger Jeffery, are you aware of the lanternfly?
I'm aware of it. I've heard of it. I haven't heard whether it's up here or not specifically, but yeah, we try to stay on top of all invasives and kind of take note of where they are and direct that information to our foresters and the right people within DEC.
Yeah, it's pretty crappy. They're pretty big, you know. They look like, I'm trying to think of how big they are. They're about the size of your thumb, and somebody had a picture of them all over there. I forgot what trees they feed on, their specific trees, but when they do, like, sap pours down, like it's literally disgusting. So they're in the area. They're starting to take over. If you see them, a lot of people are saying just grab your flamethrower and light them on fire, but we're in a freaking drought, so do not start that stuff. We're going to chat about a forest fire recently up in the Catskills, but don't do that. Like, I heard, smash them or spray them with Dawn dish soap and vinegar to kill them. So that's, you know, what to do. It's a really big process. If you see them, they look pretty, but they're not fun. So on to the next thing. So recently we talked about this last recording about the fire up on Rocky. We just got to talk about that. Ranger Jeffery, you're down here right now in Region 4, correct?
Region 3.
Yeah, Region 3.
So I cover Sullivan and Ulster County. The land pieces will probably be more familiar to your listeners. So I have sections of the Slide Mountain Wilderness, Sundown Wild Forest, and then Big Indian Wilderness.
Awesome. Well, I was looking that up differently, so I'm sorry. So you're probably aware of this recent fire up on Rocky.
Correct. Yeah, I was on it on Monday, and then also, on Friday and also Monday.
Well, and what were your thoughts like? I heard it was by campfire and stuff.
Correct. Yeah, I wasn't up there the first day, but it seems to be a campfire start. Whether it was left unattended or built right on the duff, and that's how it started. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it burned a pretty good chunk. roughly 20 by 30 feet, and was this super pain to kind of get out because of the lack of water. It was it was burning through like very tightly packed balsam roots and duff, basically like about a foot deep on rock.
Yeah, it looked. I mean, if most of us know where Rocky is, and that's a remote as heck. It's one of the most remote peaks in the Catskills. How did you guys approach it from? Did you like come in from Denning area, or did you come in from Friday, the Moonhaw?
We came in from Moonhaw, so it was an approach up and over Balsam Cap. So that it was kind of a challenge because you spend a lot of the day just getting there and getting out, and then you have a 2 to 4 hours to kind of crank on the fire and see what you can get done. But without water, it was going to be kind of a hard one. So ultimately on Monday, we did bucket drops by helicopter on it, seven bucket loads. And I think I just saw an email that it looks like it's out or close to it.
Wow. Unbelievable. Sometimes, you always, of course, we don't know who did it or what happened. Were the people trying to survive, stay warm up there? Were they in a tough situation? But you'd think if they were in a tough situation, they'd call the Rangers to help out and not just do that. And apparently, you would think you're up on Rocky Mountain. You have some skill. You got up to the most remote peak in the Catskills. So you think like, oh, I navigated up here. You would not start a fire. You'd be aware to not start a fire, but
right. As a practice, it's always good to try to use existing fire pits that have been heavily used, because they're built correctly. The fire isn't gonna, in theory, start a root fire there unless it's been, left burning. But it's really these kind of impromptu, primitive sites that just pop up and people don't know better than to just start a fire like at the base of a tree and then it just goes and goes.
Yeah. And that area is a dry as heck area because it's so thick with the balsams and stuff like that. So something goes, it just keeps going. I'm just very glad that it wasn't, like what happened over in the Peekamoose fire over in the Sundown area. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Were you were, I'm guessing you were on that since you cover that area.
That was actually before my time. So I received a text while I was in the academy. Hey, your future GAR or geographic area of responsibility is on fire.
Nice.
So,
did you after it was all done? Did you go over, like after you're done with academy? Did you go over and like assess the area and kind of low down of what they did and stuff?
Yep. Yeah. So we used kind of that fire as like a training scenario, and kind of did like action or after action reviews on it, which is basically our version of learning from every situation to do better. So I had like a really good brief on that and was able to kind of check it out from down at Peekamoose Road and then drive up on White House Road and see it from there. And kind of get a feel for the tactics that they use to contain it and then get it out.
Yeah. It's crazy that we're experiencing this in New York State, right?
It is pretty wild. I think to a degree, there's probably always been fire, but the level of fire is, coming on to this job, I would have never guessed that there's this much fire in New York. So it's a surprise, and it's also really fun for work. So,
yeah, I mean that's like trick of the trade. You guys are trained in that category just in case. Well, that's what it was. It was just in case, and
right.
now it's well, you guys are trained now because we have forest fires and they're going to be more popular, which is sad.
Yeah, that's the kind of the history of the forest ranger, which is cool. Is we started out as like the fire wardens, up in the fire towers, looking out, trying to protect state land from burning, and then transitioned into what we know today is the forest ranger.
Nice. Nice, cool. Well, thank you. I'm glad you're getting all these experiences and stuff like that. And we'll talk about that later on, some more experiences in the area. But one last thing is the other day I went and hiked up Thomas Cole Mountain to do my trail maintenance. And when I was going into Hickory Hill, the thing I look over and there's not a magazine, a newspaper of the Wyndham Weekly, and all I see is I didn't even hear about this, but Bear Mall's Round Top resident on August 30th, Saturday, August 30th, probably approximately 8 p.m. Encountering a black bear rummaging through the outer entry room of his Round Top resident, the man 63 sustained serious injuries with the close quarters contact at the allegedly attempt to remove the bear from the room where food and garbage were stored. So this is August 30th. Looks like Ecos Police and DEC Wildlife came in the area. I haven't heard anything more. I thought I saw something, but I don't know if it's that, and I don't want to think. But have you heard of this instance that happened over there in Round Top?
I haven't. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Crazy, yeah. I was just like, it's not often, but
As a rule, if you have a bear in the building that you reside at, you want to obviously exit that building.
yeah. I wonder if the guy went out there with like the pots and pans and was telling him to get away.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't say what kind of injuries there's sustained and stuff like that. Bear fled the scene after mauling the resident. And it's funny when they say maul. I think they use that for every bear attack to get everybody's attention.
Right.
So it might not be something bad, but it's maul. Everybody's like, oh my God, the guy's like almost dead. Not really. He might have been just like rushed and kind of like whatever, but it's crazy. And they said that 2024, a 53-year-old man from Round Top, was attacked, knocked down. That's what they say. So, the guy entered the house apparently with not knowing the bear was there. So
Okay.
that'll make a big difference, especially,
Yeah. Surprise.
yeah, surprise, there he is. So it's crazy once we get more on the details on the stuff. Currently our good friend Jeff is feeding me some good information on there. He's hidden. He should be right like a co-host right now. So he had injuries to his neck and arm. So hopefully the guy's out. He's probably out and just having a good time and just keeping a little bit more eyes out with the black bears in the area. So once again, lesson learned. I guess check your house for black bears if you have them in the popular areas. They're out. They're looking for food. I saw a lot of bear scat when I went up on Peekamoose 2-3 weeks ago. 5 piles just going up from the Peekamoose Blue Hole area. So fresh. Those, what are they? Are the ash trees or ashberries? The ashberries, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah. I've been seeing about a black bear a week on average, if not more. So I'm surprised at the density here in the Catskills. It's really cool.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful, and they're usually out there just to look for food. And they see you, they'll run. They'll get the hell out of there because they usually don't care. So awesome. So let's move on. Thanks for shooting the bleep, Nate. Appreciate it. Thank you to the monthly supporters Bob McLean, Chris Gerbian, Jeff Jotz, Vicky Ferreira, Mikey S., John Comiskey, Summit Seekers, Desert City Radio, Betsy A., Denise W., Vanessa, Jim C., and Eric. A lot of us monthly supporters of the show. Thank you guys so much. Once again, we don't just throw this money into that goes to me and everything. This goes back in the Catskills. We donate to Friends of the Feather Furry, the Forest Ranger Foundation, New York, New Jersey Trail Conference. So anybody who supports the show, your money pays for kind of like the internet and stuff like that and these interviews, and then that goes right back in the Catskills. I think we've donated $2,500. So it's great. So also, this episode is sponsored by another summit, a branch of Guardian Revival. This fall, they're inviting you to take part in something powerful. It's called the 1 Mile Challenge. Walk, run, or hike a day in the month in solidarity for our veterans and first responders. Each mile is a step towards raising awareness for mental health and suicide prevention. You can carry weight or just carry the cause. The podcast has put together a team to help raise money and awareness, and we'd love to have on board. Reach out to me to sign up, join our team, and make every mile and every dollar count. Let's do this. Also, discover the wilderness with Trailbound Project. Our expert-led hiking and backpacking education programs offer unparalleled outdoor experiences. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned adventurer, join us to learn essential skills, explore stunning trails, and connect with nature. Start your journey today with Trailbound Project and unlock the wonders of the great outdoors. Ranger Jeffrey, are you familiar with the podcast? Have you ever listened to it?
Yeah, specifically the Ranger interviews.
Nice. A lot of people love that one. I thought it was a great one. It was a fantastic. I really wish we could have done that in person, but weather did not cooperate on that day. So we have a little section called Are You Really Outdoors? So if you mention the podcast on one of your hikes through social media, we'll chat about it on the show. Tag us by typing at ITL Catskill MTM podcast on your post. I'm going to see if we can get a couple in here. So Tracy Pink Pony 818 took a vacation day to do the 3,500 club hike on Rocky and Lone. This is her first time up there in 3 years, and she was rewarded with the forest fire. And she was just blown away because she had no clue about this, and it was an interesting day for her. She also met Vicky Ferrara up there that hold muffins on the way to celebrate 3 people who finished today. So they had a bunch of people up there right after the fire. That's pretty crazy. So they got to experience firsthand what happens right after a fire. Also, looks like Chaotic Quixotic was up in the Burroughs Range hike. So she did the Panther hike. Looks pretty fun. Beautiful. Once again, this weather has been absolutely phenomenal. I tagged the podcast in doing my hike up Thomas Cole as well. That was fun. That's definitely a great hike going up from Barnum Road all the way up to Thomas Cole. Great, like 2,000 feet again. It's just one of those hikes that's just really amazing. So also buy us a hard cider to support the show. If you think we're doing a good job and you want to show some of our support, buy us a coffee, hard cider on buymeacoffee.com. I know Ranger Jeffrey's going to buy like at least 50 for us. That's right. Right? Jeff's over there. He's probably thinking about that too. So also rate the show. So we just got a recent rating of 2 stars because apparently from our episode about talking about the Harriman, hunting and Harriman, that they thought we were anti-hunting. And no, we're just anti-hunting in Harriman because it's such a dense, popular area. I am nowhere near anti-hunting. I can't say that I've ever hunted in my life, but I'm all for hunting. So they gave us 2 stars. So anybody else wants to rate the show, give us 5-star. Go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I don't know if there's any other platform you could rate the show on. I think we'll skip the drinking anything. I saw you take a drink, but it's probably coffee. Is my correct?
Tea.
Yes, it's coffee, everybody. So, Axel, I'm having, even though it's 3:20, I'm having a hard cider, an Awestruck hard cider. Just got back from work, so down in some good ones. It's a beautiful day out, 70 degrees out there, sunny and everything. We're just having awesome times. So, Ranger Jeffrey, we have that segment called Previous Hikes. You want to chat about you chatted about your Friday Balsam Cap hike going over to Rocky. Is that your most recent one?
Yeah, that's the most recent. I was on that 2 days ago, so that was fun. Long approach, rugged, trailless. It's kind of one of the more remote places you could have a fire. So definitely super good fire to get some experience on. Now
going up that's one of the, I think it's one of, not the steepest, but the most elevation gains in the Catskill, like 3,500. It's got around almost 3,000 feet of gain going up there. So what did you have to haul anything up there to go with it, like shovel stuff?
Yeah, we brought up fire tools and then used those up there, but more or less it was just packs on our back, our fire gear and fire tools. So would not be too much heavier than what like your average day hiker would carry, other than we have a bunch of stuff in our packs for plan B, first aid kits and layers and whatnot.
What do you think about the informal trail? Is it well defined going up that way now?
Parts are, yeah. I mean, going up from Moonhaw is pretty well defined. Between Balsam Cap and Rocky, there is like a central herd path, but there's a lot of kind of divergent herd paths too. So you just gotta pay attention and make sure you're on the right one, not kind of getting off track.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Well, glad you had a good time. I talked about my previous hike on the last episode, but once again I went up to Thomas Cole, did my trail maintenance. It was a beautiful day, nice wind. Just enjoyed it so much. I'm enjoying this weather. This weather is just absolutely phenomenal. And I wish we could have this 24/7, but unfortunately this is New York State and we have I'm trying to think of a word to say of what weather. We just have weather, basically.
We have it all.
Yes, we enjoy it all, but like I mean that's it's crazy how we're kind of getting away from the more snow than we usually get, as we go into further into climate change. It's just all these ski resorts are reporting less snow.
Right.
I'm seeing less snow than I did 10 years ago when I was hiking and stuff like that. So it's crazy, but get out there and hike, please, please. Also, Catskill News Volunteer New York, New Jersey Trail Conference 3500 Club, Catskill Trail Crew, Catskill Mountain Club, Visitor Center, Jolly Rovers Trail Crew. And if you want stickers, send me a message. I will send them to you for free. Jeff and Ranger Jeffrey, give me your addresses, and I will send you free stickers. So make sure you do that. Yeah, yeah. Weather forecast looks good. Looks to be we talked. I don't know. That's the thing is we're recording the like on a Wednesday, so I don't know when this is going to come out. So that's the thing. I'm thinking I'm going to try to get it on the Monday. So I don't know if we can give me 1 sec. I'm going to see if we can get some weather forecast going. All right. So it looks like no, they won't let me get it. Whatever. All right. So if it's nice, get out there. Remember to start packing your extra layers because down below it might be 60 degrees, but up top it might be in the 40s with wind. So pack your extra layers, gloves, winter hat, extra coat. Just do it. Who cares if it's an extra pound? So, all right. So let's get on to our last set of sponsors, and then we'll break it into Ranger Jeffrey's time of becoming a Forest Ranger, his stories and stuff. So, discover Camp Catskill in Tannersville, your ultimate hiking store. Find top quality gear, apparel, and accessories for all your outdoor adventures. Our expert staff is to hear and help every hiker. From beginners to seasoned pros, we also carry a variety of unique Catskill souvenirs and gifts. Visit us online at campcatskill.co or in the store to gear up for your next journey. Adventure starts at Camp Catskill. Also, capture your love story against breathtaking backdrops with Outdoor Chronicles photography. Molly specializes in adventure couple photography, and she'll immortalize your moments amidst the stunning landscapes of the Catskills, Adirondacks, and White Mountains. She'll craft timeless images that reflect unique bond in nature's grandeur. Embark on an unforgettable photographic journey with Outdoor Chronicles photography. Don't hesitate to get a hold of Molly on all platforms. All right. Let's get on to the guest of the night.
Let's go.
So tonight, Ranger Nathan Jeffery is going to be chatting with us about becoming a ranger. What it takes, steps, what involves being a ranger, stuff like that. I only have so many questions, but I think we're gonna go deep into this with Ranger Jeffery. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. So welcome to the show. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me. Where are you at right now? Where are you centralizing?
So I'm at my house. I basically cover Sullivan and Ulster counties. So we work out of our houses. And this is kind of the place that has the most reliable cell service in my district.
Nice.
So I figured it was safest to be here for this.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. And you're even dressed up in gear and stuff like that. Your normal apparel. So you're going all out.
I mean, I just came right off of a minor incident over in Peekamoose. So we had a vehicle stuck across the road and had to do traffic control for an hour or so. So I was glad that I was on this side of it so that I could turn and around and get over here.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go. I got an important podcast to get on to. One of the best in this nation. So, well, good God. So, how about a little background about yourself? Go deep when you were a kid, and then we'll eventually make your way up to it when you became a ranger.
Sure. So I grew up outside of Syracuse, New York, in suburbia, a town called Baldwinsville. Had been kind of going to the Adirondacks as a kid with my father, paddling whitewater kayaking and canoe camping. That kind of, planted the outdoor seed, so to speak. When I graduated high school, moved up to the Adirondacks to attend North Country Community College, and I got an associate's degree in wilderness recreation leadership, which is essentially a degree in guiding, which is what I was pursuing then. And from there, I started working for DEC in a civilian context. I was an assistant ranger for a couple of years in Cranberry Lake / Five Ponds Wilderness. I dispatched for forest rangers and conservation police in the winter, and that led to getting hired for an interior outpost position. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those or not, but I staffed the Lake Colden and Johnsbrook interior outposts in the High Peaks region of the Adirondacks for many years, as did my wife. And that's kind of where I fell in love with this kind of work, working tightly alongside rangers, doing a bunch of rescues, talking to campers, patrolling campsites, doing preventative search and rescue, making sure people were obeying regulations and that sort of thing. And when I left that position, I just missed that sort of work, and as well as that family of people. You end up kind of being like family after incident after incident. And throughout all of this, I would say I was taking the forest ranger exam, just improving my score each time I took it. So I encourage people to take the exam, whether you're super interested or might be interested. It's always good practice, and it's always nicer to improve your score as you go. And then long story short, I'm 47 now, but at 46, I was like, I want to do this. I want I want to get back into the search and rescue. I want to get into the wildland forest firefighting, want to work with my friends again and make positive difference, helping protect New York's wildlands. So I took the test and started going through that whole process of becoming a forest ranger that I had some familiarity with, but just cranked it out this time, and nothing was going to stop me.
Some familiarity, that I would say that's beyond that. You were very familiar with that with your background. That's incredible, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. So I guess I'm here to kind of appeal to your listener base. The forest rangers are holding a hiring test through the civil service, and your listener base is very outdoor centered. So if you're a hiker, mountain biker, climber, mountaineer, you're into fishing, you're into hunting, you like backcountry skiing, snowboarding, you're maybe later in life looking for a career change, it's a really good opportunity. The unique thing with the forest ranger position is there's no age limit, as long as it's based off of as long as you can kind of keep up with like the physical fitness standards and requirements. So it's a really good opportunity if you've ever considered wanting to be a forest ranger, or you need to change your pace.
Yeah, I mean, you said you're 47 years old. I don't think I qualify. We'll talk about that in a second, but that's awesome. At 47 years old, you becoming a ranger, because in my mind, becoming a ranger, becoming a cop, they always want. I mean, they do want the youngest, but it seems like they always wanted it. But that's not the case if you're experienced like you. you can join.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It's really the passion to join, and then even if you don't have a whole lot of experience, the Forest Ranger Force is really good at training people up on all the different aspects of the job. So it's a really cool opportunity.
So, what are the specific requirements in becoming a ranger?
So the requirements right now for this coming test, it's like a great opportunity. I don't know if it's ever been this open, been kind of more specific in the past in my experience with the degree requirements. But currently, to take this test, they're accepting any bachelor degree would qualify you, or an associate's degree with some specific military time or law enforcement time, or a forestry, fish, or wildlife management background with an associate's degree. So there's a lot of opportunity there for a lot of folks to take this test and pursue this, which is really cool in my opinion that they have opened it up this much.
Yeah, definitely with the, increasing popularity of hiking, of backcountry, recreation. It shows that, we need more rangers out there, as with the stress you guys had in the past couple years. Well, since freaking COVID, it's just exploded to where you guys are just always on call, always out there, always doing your thing. And, coming from a guy who was in search and rescue, we thank you, because you guys are just busting your ass out there every single day. So glad to have you on board. And let's talk about the requirements. So what about, I volunteered doing trail maintenance. Is that good enough?
I mean, that'll definitely play into like the interview process. But the real hard requirements that they are looking at are the bachelor's degree or the associate's degree with the military, law enforcement, forestry, fish, wildlife. You need a valid driver's license. And then it goes into several other elements as part of the hiring process. So you have a physical fitness test that you have to pass, where it's the Cooper fitness standard. So if anyone's wondering what that physical fitness test looks like, if you do an internet search on the Cooper fitness standards, I believe it's you have to pass at the 50th percentile for your age to get in. Once you do that, then you have a comprehensive background investigation. So they hand you this thick, like, folder of papers. You fill out every little thing about your life that you can think of, and you're assigned an investigator, and they really kind of dig deep into the history of your life, interviewing friends, checking traffic ticket history, what vehicles you've driven, where you lived.
Wow.
After that, you have a psychiatric evaluation, and that is, kind of speaks for itself. And after the psychiatric evaluation, you have a medical evaluation that includes vision, hearing, drug testing, and then you also have a polygraph. So it's a long process. The test, the civil service test, is the first step. And for those that are interested in taking that civil service test, the website for that is cs.newyork.gov, or I should say cs.ny.gov.
That'll be in the show notes, so to everybody. So what about what's the civil service test? Let's go over that quickly.
Civil service test is a multiple choice, a lot of it basic law enforcement test that's a little more geared towards a ranger position, so to speak. And that application deadline is September 17th, so it's fast approaching to apply to take that, and the test is slated for November 1st.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's why, I'm going to try to push this out as quick as I can, so to get anybody interested that listens to the show to take that test, and to, if you're interested in becoming a ranger, go ahead and do it. I might take the test just for shits and giggles to see what could happen. And I talked to my wife about it, and she's just like, just do it. What's worse could happen? I know. Yeah. Done some really crazy stuff before with a career change, and surprisingly came out positively. Um, so what about, you get into civil service, you do all these requirements and stuff like that, all these uh, evals and stuff. What about the training? When you first start training for becoming a ranger, you get in the academy.
Right.
Where are you positioned? What goes on throughout the day?
So the academy is a 6 to 7 month long paramilitary experience. It is true in the sense of the term boot camp. It's you live there, and it's everything that you kind of would expect from a boot camp. You're marching. You have physical training in the morning in the wee hours. You have tons of academics throughout the day, and just it's just full of surprises. It's probably the one of the hardest things that I've committed to in my life. I've heard it described as the best and worst 6 to 7 months of your life. I am super grateful for it. It tested. It shows you your limits, and definitely stretches them, so that when you're on the job and things are going sideways, you can kind of fall back on that training and know what you're capable of. It was definitely mental, physical, and emotional at times to the highest degree. But the training that comes out of it is absolutely incredible. The first half of the academy, and it's not to say that it's every academy, they might change up the itinerary, but mine was very like law and law enforcement focused for the first few months, and then very rescue, fire, and incident command focused for the second half. But yeah, super good experience. You end up really tight with your fellow recruits in the academy, and those are like lasting working relationships and friendships for the rest of your life.
Yeah. My nephew is going through Trooper Academy now, and he's getting towards the end of it, and he has a lot of stories. But he's nothing but smiles coming out of it out of the weekend, and he's, we did this and we did that. He's like, it was a bitch, but he's like, you don't know how much stronger I am now because of that, because of this. The brotherhood, they went up Mount Beacon the other last week all together. I think I forgot how many. It was like 19 or 20 of them, and they like marched up there like quicker than heck with weighted vests and stuff. But
Yep.
he's nothing. It's all positive stuff to say.
Right. Yeah. I think reflecting on it, it's one of those things that sinks in more and more as time passes, like how positive it was.
Yeah, and it makes you stronger. It makes you stronger for the job. It's like, they're not going to throw anybody and everybody out for this because, I know from being from search and rescue, you cannot take your time going up to rescue this person, especially in these, situations of weather. It's like, you got to get up there and you got to get to the person, assess it,
Yep.
get them down. It's not all fun and games.
Yep. And I mean, all of those scenarios are like, we do a lot of reality based training in the academy. So you'd get woken up in the wee hours of the morning and get geared up super fast, and then and I have no idea where you're going, and all of a sudden you're hiking a mountain and there's a patient up there, and you have to carry them off, call for the resources, figure out how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Super cool reality based training.
Yeah, reality spot based training that'll get you tuned into the job and make you once again more efficient, as that we would say. So now with with all that training and stuff like that, what part of like do you find it most challenging in the academy?
It's really hard. I mean, for me, the most challenging part of the academy was the fact that I'm older, so I'm trying to keep up with like 20-year-olds.
Yeah, right.
Which was tough. And then the other part is that I have a family, so wife and child, and being away from them was super tough, and continues to be. but ultimately it's super worth it. I can't really pinpoint a specific part of the academy that was better or worse because it was such a roller coaster ride throughout it. You'd have super highs and lows in the same day, often by design. So yeah, I mean, for me, I think all of the law memorization was super tough, but I think it's going to be different for everybody. Everyone has their different strengths and weaknesses.
What about the funnest part? Like, what did you find like one of the most, I would say most, I wouldn't say special, but like popping, like, ooh, we're going to learn this? No way. This is awesome.
I mean, there's so much. The rescue end of this stuff is like incredibly fun. I mean, you're getting raised and lowered out of helicopters. You're at a whitewater park doing swiftwater rescues, swimming rapids, and pulling dummies out of the river left and right. You have ropes training on pretty high elevation cliffs, raising and lowering. There's the wildfire stuff. They're setting stuff on fire for you to actually put out. It's every day is like a super surprise. They'd give you like a rough itinerary coming in that week, what you might be looking at, but you can't really comprehend how in depth it is and the breadth that they're going to cover.
Nice. That's so much fun. It sounds, it sounds like a bitch, but it sounds like so much fun just to, get throwing something different each day to, like you're going in, hey, you might learn about fire, but unfortunately you're going to have to rescue this patient first, and then you'll go fight the fire afterwards. So yeah, I mean that's the way it is. That's the way it should happen. You once again you said you were out for doing some some person went off of their car. You were out directing traffic, and then you had to come here and was forced to do this podcast by Jeff. So, of course. So, with your beginning, we'll take. I don't know if you can give a rough estimate, but starting the civil service test, like taking it, and then officially becoming a ranger. Can you get a time frame that you did this?
I think it varies a little bit. On each academy, but for speaking from my experience, it was the better part of 2 years from the time when I took the test to when I was released from field training and kind of set free on my own.
Okay. So now, talking about, once again, you said you're 47 years old, 45 right. years old. That's a big career change, but you had the background in this. So how was it being your age coming into that? Like I know you said it was intimidating because you got all these 20-year-olds, thin and skinny and stuff like that, and they can eat anything and not gain fat. But right. And then you and me, we have to watch our calories and stuff like that, knees, stuff like that. How did you did you train beforehand to get into this and stuff like that?
Absolutely. So like even leading up to the physical fitness test, for those that are going to apply, like just the entrance test, I trained, I made sure I could hit those Cooper fitness standards, the sit-ups, push-ups, like twice a day. I would run 3 times a week. And then as the academy approached, I was just ramping it up. I was exercising almost every single day unless I really needed a rest. And I was told that, you didn't want to be at your peak physical fitness going in, but pretty close to it, because once you get in, they are going to push you and they want to see improvement. And to graduate, you're graduating at a much higher percentile than that 50th percentile. I can't remember specifically what it is. It's probably around the 80th percentile. So of fitness compared to others in the U.S.
Wow. So that, once again, congratulations. I mean, I got to admit, being 42 years old and, when Jeff told us we're going to hook up in your age, I was just like, holy crap, it's actually possible. Like
super possible. Yeah. You just gotta be willing to suffer through the physical fitness end of it.
Yeah, definitely.
In some ways, I think the age helps. You have a different experience and kind of a different perspective that may help. But with the physical fitness, it's definitely a challenge. But it is super possible, and it's just deciding to do it and committing to it.
Yeah, and I guarantee, going through this, I'm once again, I don't have an experience, but I have experience with search and rescue. It's just the brotherhood of being in the academy. Everybody encourages everybody to do better. It's just it's a great bond that you have. And I'm that's pretty cool just to hear that and stuff. Once again, at your age, it's great to hear that they don't just accept, say, like they cut you off at like 28 years old. Like,
Right.
yeah, and you have the knowledge, so you're out there, you've experienced all this stuff. So even though, some of these younger people, younger rangers could be like, I've been at this job for 4 years, I know what I'm doing. You can be like, well, technically I've done most of this stuff for 15 years. Like,
I mean, elements of it, sure, but I think like once you graduate the academy, just the depth and variety of training, like there's like so many different elements that make a ranger, and one of those is definitely law enforcement, and it's I had like very little experience with like the law enforcement end, so that's like that was like where my learning curve was focused, is like, I got to figure this out. I may know how to carry somebody out of the woods and splint a fracture, but I need to know the law and know how to enact an arrest if need be, and firearms and all of the rest of it.
yeah. So, breaking down, I mean, we'll chat about a typical day in a second, but I got one question. With your day, a day of as a ranger, percentage wise, well, let's break it down into a week. Like, week wise, what is like the actual chance you're gonna be, like, the percentage you're gonna be outside, and the percentage you're gonna be doing like paperwork, stuff like that?
If you keep up on the paperwork, it can just be under an hour a day.
Oh, wow.
Where it becomes a more intensive is if you kind of let it build up, like if you have a bunch of different rescues or whatnot, and then you've been out back to back, and then you got to catch up. That's when it's tough, but it's really, I don't think it's a lot of paperwork or computer work. I'd say 90% of your time or more is outside, and no day is the same. And I've come to learn that, like, I'll have a loose plan on kind of what I hope I might be able to do, like a place I want to go hike and patrol and check out. And I'm just ready to pivot, and pivoting happens like moment's notice. The radio goes off, or you get a cell phone call and there's an incident, the complete opposite direction of which way you're headed. And that's where you are. And then you're like, okay, maybe I can still salvage my itinerary after that. And then it's like back to back. You're like, all right, guess I'm doing that another day.
Yeah, especially in the summer and the popular, times, you're always, I would think you guys are always on edge, just waiting.
It's part of the fun of it is just in the adventures, you never know where you're going to end up, and you try to be as prepared as possible for any of it. We have a truck absolutely, or a patrol vehicle absolutely full of gear for any scenario that we can kind of dream up, including hurricane deployments, and situations where we might be gone and not seeing our home for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it's like food and water back there, camping stuff, swiftwater rescue stuff, paddling stuff, wildfire stuff.
Yeah.
Equipment for everybody else to keep them warm and dry and stabilized. And yeah, it's wild. It's a wild ride.
Yeah. So, I mean, a while, I wouldn't say like 6 months ago, I applied for a job that I thought would be more of outdoors. I would say like what you were thinking, like 90% outdoors and then 10% like indoors doing paperwork. And they were told me, yeah, it's more of like 40% outdoors and 60% indoors. I'm like, yeah, no. I want to be like 100% outdoors. So, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. I think we all do.
yeah, so I mean 90, I mean I would even go I told them I'm like, I go out in, negative weather and I love it. I just love that
Right.
side. But
Yep.
like 90%, that's fantastic, especially, with the area that you patrol is very popular area.
It is super popular. Yeah, and it's hard to you kind of want to be every single place at once, but you have to kind of prioritize and put it on a cycle, so to speak. I tend to either go where the people are, and then also, as it gets into busy weekends, I also try to be somewhat close to the road, or within reach of my vehicle, come 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, because it seems like that's when the calls start coming in for things. And
Yep.
that there's nothing worse than being like, 4 or 5 miles back, and you get a radio call that you have to go to something that's very time sensitive, and you're running out of the woods to drive 45 minutes in a truck to try to make it there.
Yeah. And you recently, what rescue were you recently on? Were you on that giant ledge?
Yes, it was. Yep.
Okay, so I mean, I know we're kind of going a little bit off topic, but I know people would like to hear how entertaining was that?
It was. It wasn't the worst rescue. It was an entertaining evening, I would say, for everybody, most everybody involved. Except maybe excluding the one subject.
And that subject was like it just experiencing kind of the bad highs that people experience.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to that he probably just had too much of it, and and it went from there.
Yeah.
The group had explained that he didn't think he was feeling the effects, so he took more than the rest of them.
And this was all like mushrooms outside of like not on trail mushrooms and stuff, right?
Yes, yeah, it's stuff that
Okay.
they had brought in.
Okay. That was my other question. So I'm guessing he kind of was like more of a paranoia high than a more of a fun high.
I don't know how I would describe it. It was just he was pretty out of it, repeating phrases often, and just not really grasping kind of where he was or what was going on, to the point where we'd have to remind him quite often. But all said and done, it was a really good result. It could have certainly been much worse, given the terrain. They could have continued from the spot where the original coordinates placed them, and they would have ended up in the middle of nowhere. Or, who knows what could have happened if they were right on the ledges proper, and
Yeah.
that occurred. So it was kind of a best case scenario, and an entertaining evening, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah. And we were chatting about that the other night, and it's just about, how everybody looks at Giant Ledge and be like, "Oh, 1.6 miles. That's easy. That's nothing." But, it requires 1,200 feet of elevation gain.
Absolutely.
And it's not easy like, Hunter Mountain elevation gain. This is like, I wouldn't say scrambling, but boulders, rocks, loose
Yeah,
rocks, dirt, mud. I mean, it's a typical Catskill hike.
absolutely. Especially that lower part where it's just like a bit of a boulder garden. I think we all realized that it was going to be pretty dicey for us to walk him through that, not only for him, but also for us. So that's where the ETV ride really kind of came in handy.
Nice. Oh, I didn't hear about the ATV ride. Oh, interesting. Well, that's good. I mean, it was definitely one of the hot rescues that we had. We had the rescue that I thought was phenomenal with Kate going up on Drybrook Ridge where she fractured her leg or her ankle. And that was a phenomenal story to hear. And that's what I find that I want to hear more of is where, you guys come in from the middle of nowhere and you have to do all this assessment, break down what that's going on instead of just some guys high on mushrooms that just decided to go up giant ledge because they wanted a view high.
Yeah, it's interesting what gets attention versus what doesn't, and then also I think for like every story that is out there, there's probably another six or so that you don't hear about, or that doesn't make it out there for whatever reason. So there's a lot going on, and yeah, it's one of the most rewarding parts of the job is really being able to get people out of a bind and help them and keep people safe, as well as the woods. I always people always ask, like, what does a ranger do? And the way I explained it is that we protect people from the woods from the people from themselves, and people from each other.
That's complicated. Ooh, you gotta.
Complicated, like so multifaceted.
Do you guys have a T-shirt for that you guys get to wear outside of being a ranger?
No.
Okay, I would market that, Jeff. Mark that down, market it, and then let you guys wear that when you're outside. So a typical day, I mean, we just talked about a rescue. I wouldn't say that's a typical day, but
Right.
typical day. You wake up and you start. Let's go through that as being a ranger.
Yeah, a typical day for me is kind of waking up, checking emails and voicemails, maybe writing a camping permit and making a few calls, that sort of thing. I usually kind of start my day the night before. I come up with like a game plan where I'm hoping to go, making sure radio batteries are charged, cell phones charged, computers charged, and the pack is packed appropriately. Like, so much of this job is packing and unpacking and repacking for different scenarios. Then the beauty of it is you hop in the patrol vehicle, and the world's at your fingertips. You can kind of decide where you go. There's days where you know where you're going to go, and you have an assignment, like a training or a meeting, but most of the time it's kind of up to you and where you want to patrol in your geographic area of responsibility. A lot of times we meet up with other rangers and go for a walk into a remote place and show each other where the camping issues are and where people get lost off herd paths. It's all kind of like zone familiarity, so to speak. Yeah, every day I try to get into the woods. And I think the hard days are the ones where, I'm trying to go for a walk and you just kind of get tied up with roadside stuff, but that's just part of it. But yeah, usually a walk of at least a couple miles. Long days are super fun, but you got to kind of time them when you think it's not busy, and when other employees coordinate with other rangers that can kind of fill in the gap roadside, so that you kind of always ensure coverage.
Yeah.
I don't know if that kind of answers your question, but no day is the same, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do. You can go rock climbing and explore a cliff where there's been a fall in the past, and figure out how you're going to do a rescue on that. You can go paddle whitewater on the river. You can go bushwhacking. You can find hidden overlooks, checking campsites. A lot of our time is spent checking campsites, making sure they're not trashed, kind of getting an eye for, if there's been a tree cut down and you're coming into a busy weekend. Like, I take note of that, and then see if there's anything additionally getting damaged for that weekend. It's a big variety of different things and options. So really exciting. No day's the same, essentially.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's all over the place, but you're outdoors. I mean, that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. That's the one thing you can really count on, is that you're going to be outside, and often on trail away from the road.
So within the radius of like your house where you're located, what is like are you responsible for like a 50-mile radius and stuff like that? Like that's a big question that I've always had.
Yeah, it depends ranger to ranger. Some GARs are larger than others, and I think what's nice here in Region 3 is we kind of all look after each other's land, and it's kind of like an open door policy. Like if the neighboring ranger isn't working, it's like fair game to kind of go play in his GAR and patrol and check up on his area and whatnot. So for me, like my GAR realistically to make it from one end to the other is probably a 2-hour drive by road. Just because here we are in the Catskills and you got to drive around the mountain.
Yeah.
But that kind of gives you the perspective on the territory size that I'm covering.
That's not bad. That's a typical drive from my area to where I live to Denning. So it's pretty nice. So Jeff is sending me messages. Jeff, just unmute your microphone and come on in. Join us. All right. So what about like a crazy day? Like, you talk about that rescue, we talk about fire, stuff like that. Have you had a crazy day that you can be like, wow, it's just never ending, but it's rewarding?
Yeah. The crazy days. I think some fellow rangers have come up with the term "broken arrow," which refers to like the broken arrow of a compass. You have multiple incidents going on at once, and you're trying to figure out which direction your arrow is going to point to. So I had like a week and a half kind of stretch here a while back where it was incident after incident, and couple hours of sleep each night, wake up, crank out some paperwork, jump in the patrol vehicle, and then it was just like nonstop, going into wee hours of the night. Yeah, I mean, it's everything from, responding to campgrounds, like overturned canoes at midnight, people without PFDs, to, unconscious, not breathing child. It's just, it's crazy when they start stacking up and you have to prioritize which one you're going to, while ensuring that all of them are covered.
Yeah, definitely. Now, do you guys also respond to like local fire departments and stuff like that? And if they have an incident, or are you guys like limited to what it is?
No, so I mean, we have the same powers as state police, and we all try to help each other out. We also have our kind of specialties in our own sandbox, and we try not to impede on others. But yeah, if a fire department has something going on, like I'll and I'm in the area, I'll roll up and see if they need help, and then I just kind of go from there. There's certain things that happen where, like, if it's state land, we will be involved, absolutely. And then there's other aspects where we can help out, but it's not necessarily like our sandbox, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, I was always curious because once again, you guys are like the top dog for search and rescue. You're top dog for missing people, stuff like that, missing persons. Kind of 911 calls if they're in the wilderness. So you guys are, I didn't know if like, something happened, like a car accident, if you are local, like if you're right there, you'll respond, right?
100%. Yep. Car accident, like anything law enforcement related, if there's a need, and we can assist, we will be there.
Nice. So that's awesome. So busy.
Yes. Yep.
And that sounds great. That's what I want to be. I mean, I have the podcast, and as you can tell by the way I talk, I have ADHD. So this would be the perfect job for me.
Same. So yeah.
You don't sleep. So that's good. So kind of wrapping it up. We'll wrap it up a little bit here. I got a couple more questions. So Yeah, I mean, you said you've been here for 2 years, but let's you can even go back into your years as an assistant forest ranger and stuff. What about like some memorable stories that you can bring up that just stays in your mind all day long?
Uh, I mean, I had, I guess, going all the way back to when I was staffing the Johnsbrook outpost in a civilian context for DEC. I had a day where I had 3 rescues in one day, and I had every ambulance in the county at the trailhead. And it was a heart attack on top of a mountain, followed by dehydrated to the point where they couldn't walk, followed by another dehydration that was that they encountered on the way out. And yeah, it just went sun up to sundown, and absolutely wild trying to care for everyone and get everyone out of the woods safely. I had so much staff in there for that, and it was just really cool watching everyone work together and make it all happen, and successfully. Everybody made it out safe. So that's the goal at the end of the day.
Yeah. Were you incident command on that?
No, wasn't really incident command, but the outposts were kind of treated as I don't know, like a forward scout position, so to speak. Like we would run up and do like a quick assessment and report to the rangers and say, hey, this is what I got. These are the vitals, and you they could figure out how to enact the rescue, and then you just kind of turned into part of it.
No. So what about your previous 2 years with being a ranger? Do you have any, besides the mushroom incident, anything that you want to point out of being in Region 3 that you've had a great time, memorable time?
So it's really one year, or not even a year in the field, in the official capacity of ranger. So like the last 9 months, and yeah, it's really that week and a half that stood out. Unfortunately, I probably shouldn't go into details about all of the specifics of it, just out of sensitivity for some of the subjects involved. But yeah, the having a week that's that busy, and you're just going and going with your coworkers and making it all happen is incredibly rewarding, even through like the lack of sleep and the stress. It's just like making a positive difference in people's lives and protecting the landscape. It doesn't get any better. I can't think of a better job in the world or purpose for that matter.
And it's fun, right?
It's so fun. I mean, not all days, but most of it.
I would say most of it. Yeah, yeah. At least you're, once again, every day, like you said, is a new day. You learn, you have those skills, but once again, every day is a different day, so you learn a new skill again. Like you learn that skill over.
Absolutely, yeah. You're constantly refreshing too. It's like downtime. You're practicing knots. You're reviewing first aid protocols. It's constant practice and repetition, so that when you need it, it's there. So yeah, even the downtime is fun because you can make it super useful and relevant.
Nice. Well, fantastic. So, any other advice you want to give anybody before we wrap this up totally?
Take that, apply for the Ranger test by September 17th on Civil Service website. Take it and chase your dreams. And it's never too late to become a forest ranger. It's a super rewarding job. It's a lifestyle and kind of a second family. I highly recommend it, and look forward to seeing all of your listeners in the woods. Say hi.
Hopefully you're looking forward to just seeing me, actually. So we got to get together.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Last question. We always have this post-hike brews and bites. Your Region 3. Do you have any local place that you like to go out, get something to eat or a beer after you've, had a crazy rescue, a crazy, day and stuff like that? Your favorite spot?
Uh, I don't really have a favorite spot. I tend to be a bit of a homebody when I can. So yeah, ironically, like I get home from work, the uniform comes off, the outdoor gear goes on, and I'll go hit a swimming hole or something. That's like my idea of going out.
Oh, interesting. What about Schneider's Tavern? You ever been there?
I haven't.
Oh, looks like we're going there. Jeff, this is the next place we need to have all Ranger interviews. This is Snyder's Tavern. It's remote. Nobody would even stop in there, except for the locals. Sounds like a good time. So excellent. Ranger Jeffrey, thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm going to push this out as fast as I can. I've got a lot of good information about becoming a ranger and how rewarding it is to be a forest ranger in New York State. So big shout out to the monthly supporters and monthly sponsors and everybody who's donated to the show and everybody who's still listening to the show. 188 episodes in, Ranger Jeffrey chats about becoming a ranger, being a ranger, and his lifestyle as a ranger. And it's phenomenal here. And once again, thank you to you and your fellow rangers and for doing what you do, because it's just day in and day out. We see so many different instances of where you guys are just kicking ass. And it's great to see. And I'm glad you can join us tonight.
Thank you, Sash. I appreciate the shout out.
All right.
Be on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me and taking your time. So have a good night, and let's catch up in the future.
Sounds good.
All right.
Hey everyone, I just want to thank you for listening to the show. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe and throw down a smooth review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any podcast platform that you use. You can also check daily updates of the podcast, hikes, hiking news, and local news on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the official website of the show. Remember this, you gotta just keep on living in the Catskills, man. Livin.
Wicked.